Welcome to another episode of Aging Options, the podcast. This is elder law attorney Rajiv Nagaich. I bring you information about how people plan for retirement and how people's lives turned out. And my goal and focus of doing the work that I do is to ensure that where 70% of Americans are not able to live out their last days in their own homes, I want you to be part of the 30% who does. We know that 69% of people in retirement after they fall ill, they start feeling guilty. They become the burden they didn't want to become their loved ones. I want to be part of the 31% who did all the planning right, where they never became a burden on their loved ones. And majority of us are going to lose money to uncovered medical and care costs. A few of us are going to get wiped out in the process. And I want my clients to be there to make sure that you're not the one who's going to get wiped out in the process. And that's what this is about. So today I really want to talk to you about, as an elder law attorney, the work that I do deals with what we refer to as crisis planning. Somebody gets in trouble, they have dementia, they have a stroke, and they become paralyzed. And now the family is going to gather around. And the episode that I want to talk about is in this book. It's called Your Retirement, Dream or Disaster. And it's a whole story that I basically wrote down. It was such a troubling story. I just wanted to make sure that everyone was aware of the whole thing. So let's talk about the story a little bit. I'm going to go read it directly from the book. So I'll try and make eye contact, but let's see as to how far we get here. The part of the book that I'm reading is on page 169. It really is under the heading, The Problem with Who Does What. And here's what it goes. I had a case involving a single woman with 4 daughters. They were a loving family who cared for each other. One of the daughters, let's call her Emily, had lived with mom for years. Emily looked after mom. She got groceries, cooked food, managed her mom's health care, and took her to doctor's appointments. The sisters all trusted Emily, and they were grateful for Emily's willingness to provide such loving care. When the family showed up at my office, mom's mental capacity had diminished to a point where the family was ready to place her in a nursing home. They wanted Medicaid to help pay for the long-term care while protecting mom's assets to the greatest degree possible. In cases like this, the state always has the right to look at financial transactions over the previous 5 years. And before we submit an application, we always go over at least 1 year of bank statements so we can answer the questions if needed. We started the application, the family signed the fee agreement, and everyone went back home. As my staff reviewed the bank statements, they noticed dozens and dozens of electronic withdrawals that were not noted in mom's checkbook. I called Emily to ask her for an explanation, and she promised to send me all the details that I was looking for, but there was no response. I called her again. Can you send me this information? I asked. I need it to finish the Medicaid application. Again, Emily agreed to send me all the details, but she didn't follow through. I kept calling, and she finally stopped responding. I needed to get this resolved, so I called mom. In her diminished state, she was unable to help, so I started calling the sisters. I need this information, and Emily is not cooperating, I told each one. They all promised to get back to me. I pushed back. No, I just want to see all of you together in my office so we can go over the bank statements and figure out what's going on with these withdrawals. What I didn't mention was that my staff had continued to dig into the bank records and had discovered hundreds of more withdrawals over the first few years alone. The withdrawals weren't large, under $100 in most cases, but they were happening every day, often more than at one ATM per day. If the withdrawals continued at this pace under the entire 5-year period, that could total to be more than $400,000. This could put mom's Medicaid application in jeopardy. And finally, all the sisters came and we went through the records. Emily was extremely uncomfortable answering the questions about the withdrawals. Where did the money go? And eventually, the truth came out. Emily had a gambling problem. No one else in the family knew about the whole thing. And this is, and then I go on to kind of share as to how this thing resolved. It resolved by me giving the family a choice. Either we're going to turn Emily to the police, Or we are going to go to Medicaid and say, mom gifted Emily, whatever that amount of money was, it was well over $380,000, and she would not get Medicaid for up to 5 years beyond that time, which is what the family then resolved to do. They decided not to turn Emily to the police, but they called it a gift, and then we resolved it somehow. The point of the story that I make is this: look, we do a lot of planning in our lives. And we have assumptions that we end up making, that because I've done the planning, I will not be a burden to other people. All my children will work with each other. We don't take time to write out details. We don't take time to give our perspective about how we want our life to be addressed when we are no longer able to speak for ourselves. And that leads to all sorts of wacky results that you don't want part of your life. So take a moment, understand that we are growing old each and every single day. You, more than the government, more than the businesses you rely on, more than the lawyer you rely on to do your planning, you need to understand how to pull all the pieces together. Because there is no professional who's going to look at all the pieces that go into retirement planning. And you can get all this information on this book, Your Retirement, Dream or Disaster. It's a simple read. You will have to invest a little bit of time in it. You can read the book, or you can go to AgingOptions.com and get all sorts of help around this issue. If you like this type of information coming to you, take a moment like us and try and share this information with other people. Over the years, I've searched high and low to find out whether other people are doing retirement planning the way it needs to be done, so people don't end up in the nursing home at the rate of 70% in America, or become a burden at the rate of 69% in America, or all of us lose money to uncovered medical costs. And there is no one. Everyone is busy doing their narrow portion in the planning process. A lawyer does something, financial planner does something, the doctors do something, insurance agents do something, CPA does something, but nobody looks at the bigger picture. Nobody is looking to you and saying, come see me, and I'll make sure that I can help build a plan for you that you don't end up in a nursing home or become a burden on your loved ones. That's what Aging Options is. Thanks so much for watching. Take a moment, like us, and share this information with other people.
Hello, producer Alec here. Thank you for tuning into this episode of Aging Options, the podcast. If you would like to know more about this topic and many other topics surrounding retirement, aging, and how to ensure that you're able to live out the retirement you deserve, please head on over to AgingOptions.com. If you want a comprehensive, deep dive into planning your retirement and don't want to wait until next week's podcast, I highly recommend Rajiv's best-selling book, Your Retirement, Dream or Disaster. You can find both soft and hardcover editions on the AgingOptions.com website. Please follow us on social media at Aging Options. If you want to see this podcast in video form, you can find us on YouTube, also at Aging Options. Until next week, age on.